Here's proof that your birth certificate is a bond that's worth millions. A bond is a certificate or evidence of debt. Comparing the definition of a bond from a law dictionary to a banking dictionary, a bond is defined as an interest-bearing or discounted certificate of indebtedness. If you're wondering where straw man came from, it comes from straw bond. A straw bond is a bond upon which is used either the names of fictitious persons or those unable to pay the sum guaranteed, which would be defined as bankrupt, condition of a person who is unable to pay its debts as they are or become due. The United States is bankrupt because of House Joint Resolution 192, June 5, 1933, Republic Law 73-10, which is why the Federal Reserve, which is a private corporation, has exclusive power to print the United States money. Evidence of the bankruptcy. Let's compare the red numbers at the bottom of the birth certificate and the red numbers on the back of the Social Security card. The purpose of authenticating the birth certificate is because it is considered a certificate of indebtedness. In banking, it is the same as a certificate of deposit, as a government security, the same as a treasury certificate. When you authenticate your birth certificate, you get this page as the cover. And on here it says, I certify that the document hereunto annexes under the seal of the states, and that such seals are entitled to full faith and credit. Full faith and credit in the banking dictionary is an expression for the commitment by a state, local, or national government to pledge its taxing authority plus non-tax revenues in payment of principal and interest on outstanding debt securities. And then it references U.S. Treasury obligations and some federal agency securities are also backed by this pledge, which is again a certificate of indebtedness. Like, share, and follow for part 3, where I explain how to deposit certificates.
Peace and blessings. When you look at 12 CFR 226.11, the treatment of credit balances, and it clearly says when a credit balance in excess of $1 is created on a credit account through transmittal of funds to a creditor in excess of the total balance due on an account, through rebates of unearned finance charges or insurance premiums, or through amounts otherwise owed to or held for the benefit of the consumer, the creditor shall credit the amount of the credit balance to the consumer's account, refund any part of the remaining credit balance within 7 business days from receipt of a written request, make a good faith effort to refund the consumer. So what is the problem when we send in these letters and telling them to credit our balances and refund any part remaining? What is the problem? Peace.
Okay, so here is a book that I found that is really interesting. It's not very long, it's only like 70 pages, but it is written by this gentleman here who is giving some inside red tape knowledge. So here are some of the sections of this book. And this one is very interesting. How to defeat Admiralty Court and the law of the sea. So you have a lot of things in here that are highly interesting. So I suggest you, if you can, find it. And you can see it has forms.
Never came up with any of its own money to obtain the promissory note. Am I hearing this right? I give you the equivalent of $200,000. You return the funds back to me, and I have to repay you $200,000 plus interest. Do you think I'm stupid?
All the banks are doing this. Congress allows this.
Does Congress allow the banks to breach written agreements, use false and misleading advertising, act without written permission, authorization, and without the alleged borrower's knowledge to transfer actual cash value from the alleged borrower to the bank and then return it back as a loan?
But the borrower got a check in the house.
Is it true the actual cash value that was used to fund the bank loan check came directly from the borrower and that the bank received the funds from the alleged borrower for free?
This is true.
Is it the bank's policy to transfer actual cash value from the alleged borrower to the bank and then keep the funds as the bank's property, which they then loan out as bank loans as if they actually owned it and loaned their own money?
Yes.
Was it the bank's intent to receive actual cash value from the borrower and return the value of the funds back to the borrower as a loan?
Yes.
Do you believe that it was the borrower's intent to fund his own bank loan check?
I was not there at the time, and I cannot know what went through the borrower's mind.
So if a lender loaned a borrower $10,000 and the borrower refused to repay the money, do you believe the lender is damaged?
If a loan is not repaid, the lender is damaged.
So is it the bank policy to take actual cash value from the borrower, use it to fund the bank loan check, and never return the actual cash value to the borrower?
The bank returns the funds.
Was the actual cash value the bank received from the alleged borrower returned as a return of the money the bank took, or was it returned as a bank loan to the borrower?
As a loan.
So how did the bank get the borrower's money for free?
That's how it works.
No more questions, Your Honor.
This video is between a man talking to a judge and asking him questions about how banks work. And we're going to cover a few things here that are very important. But first, we're going to go through all these screenshots. I give you the equivalent of $200,000. You return the funds back to me, and I have to repay you $200,000 plus interest. The judge's response is, all the banks are doing this. Congress allows this. The guy says, does Congress allow the banks to breach written agreement, use false and misleading advertising without your written permission or authorization, and without your knowledge, transfer the actual cash value from the alleged borrower to the bank? So what happens is when you go into the bank and you apply for a $200,000 loan, they get a check with your name on it after you gave them your Social Security, and they then take that check for $200,000 with your name on it, and they give it back to you as a loan plus interest, but they got it from you. And then again, like I said, return it back as a loan. The judge's response is, but the borrower got a check in-house. So when you even go to finance a car, you give them your Social Security number, your credit, you're there all day because they are waiting on the check with your name on it to come through so that they can then give it back to you as a loan. So then he asked, is it true that the actual cash value that was used to fund the bank loan check came directly from you because your name was on it? It's your money? And that the bank got that money from you for free. No equal consideration. They got it from you for free. And he says, this is true. That is the section that you hear in the beginning that I stitched. He then asked, is it the bank's policy to transfer the actual cash value from the check to themselves and then keep the money as the bank's property, which they then loan out as bank loans back to you, as if they actually owned it and that they actually loan their own money? And he says, yes. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. It's been proven time and time again. They get money from you, your money, then give it back to you, and somehow you have to pay them interest. It doesn't make any sense. It's your money. What they're actually supposed to do is give you the check with your name on it when it comes in-house. Which is why if you go and watch that video, the judge says, I don't know what's going on in the borrower's mind, but they also know that you're not reading your contracts, you have no idea about truth in lending, and you don't know anything about money. For if the people understood the financial system, there would be a revolution before tomorrow, but y'all don't care about that. Y'all just want to dance.